Hi everyone, welcome to this short tutorial from Pathology Made Simple at ilovepathology.com. This is the part 3 and the final part of plasma cell disorder series. In the last two parts, we had discussed about the general aspects of plasma cell disorders. We discussed in detail about the multiple myeloma, the etiopathogenesis, the lab diagnosis of multiple myeloma. In this part, we will learn some important features of other monoclonal gammopathies like MGUS, the small ring myeloma, solitary plasmacytoma, lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma or Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia. First one is monoclonal gammopathy of undetermined significance, in short MGUS. So this is the most common plasma cell disorder, occurring in around 3% of individuals older than 50 years of age and around 5% of individuals older than 70 years of age. Patients are usually or almost always asymptomatic, and the serum M protein level is important. The quantification of M protein is important. Okay, the serum M protein level is less than 3 grams per deciliter. In the earlier part, we discussed the levels of serum M protein, right? In the case of multiple myeloma, where the serum M protein level was more than 3 gram per deciliter. In this case, that is MGUS or monoclonal gammopathy of undetermined significance, the serum M protein level is less than 3 gram per deciliter. Now, approximately 1% of these patients, they develop symptomatic plasma cell neoplasm, usually a multiple myeloma. Because of this risk involved, we need to do a periodic assessment of serum M protein levels and also Bence-Jones proteinuria. Okay, so just to ensure that these patients are not progressing towards symptomatic plasma cell neoplasms. Now, why do we need to know whether we are dealing with the case of monoclonal gammopathy of undetermined significance or a case of multiple myeloma? Because the treatment entirely varies. In the cases of MGUS, the treatment is usually a conservative type of management, whereas in case of multiple myeloma, we know the treatment modalities as discussed earlier, right? So we discussed various chemotherapeutic regimen, even stem cell transplantation is also being tried in case of multiple myeloma, whereas in MGUS, it is almost always a conservative type of treatment. The next important entity we need to understand is small ring myeloma. What is a small ring myeloma? This entity is in between multiple myeloma and MGUS, which means the plasma cells make up to around 10 to 30% of marrow cellularity, and the serum M protein level is greater than 3 grams per deciliter, just like that in multiple myeloma. But what is important is that patients are asymptomatic. They do not have clinical manifestations as that of multiple myeloma, and that's the reason why it is called as smoldering multiple myeloma. Now, the importance of knowing this entity is 75% of patients progress to multiple myeloma over a 15-year period. Now, moving on to another entity called solitary plasmacytoma. Now, solitary plasmacytoma, around 3 to 5% of plasma cell neoplasms present as solitary lesion, and these solitary lesion can be in the bone or soft tissue. So solitary plasmacytoma is a localized proliferation of neoplastic monoclonal plasma cell without evidence of systemic disease. Unlike multiple myeloma, where the proliferation was multifocal and destructive, right? And of course, it also had clinical manifestations in the form of CRAB criteria. We did discuss about this criteria, right? So whereas in case of solitary plasmacytoma, it is localized proliferation and no evidence of systemic disease. You have two types of lesions. One is bone lesions, another is extraosseous lesions. Bone lesions, same locations as that of in multiple myeloma, like for example, vertebrae, the skull, the spine, the ribs, whatever. But then these lesions are always solitary in case of solitary plasmacytoma. That's the reason why it's called solitary plasmacytoma. Whereas lungs, oronasopharynx or nasal sinuses can be sites in case of extraosseous solitary plasmacytoma. There will be modest elevation of M proteins in the blood or in the urine. What is important to note that inevitably these patients progress to multiple myeloma, but then this can take longer time, around 10 to 20 years or even more. Now let's understand another entity. Way back in 1944, Dr. Jan Gustav Waldenstrom, he was a Swedish internist then, he published a paper called Incipient Myelomatosis or Essential Hyperglobulinemia with Fibrogenopenia. a new syndrome was the title of the paper in this particular journal. The paper was about two patients with oronasal bleeding, lymphadenopathy, anemia, and thrombocytopenia with an elevated erythrocyte sedimentation rate, a very high serum viscosity level, but normal bone radiographs, and a bone marrow characteristically demonstrating predominantly lymphoid cells. So very beautifully illustrated clinical scenario in that particular paper way back in 1944. And that paper provided the foundation for the widely recognized but uncommon clinical diagnosis called Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia. Now, in 2003, when the second international workshop on Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia was conducted, which was held in Athens, okay, where they defined Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia as a clinico-pathological entity which was represented by the underlying pathological diagnosis of lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma. So basically, Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia is a clinico-pathological entity. The pathological diagnosis is a type of lymphoma, that is lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma as defined by the WHO and the REAL classification systems, where the common feature is that it secretes immunoglobulin M as a monoclonal component. Now, what is lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma? It's a SLL or a small lymphocytic lymphoma or a chronic lymphocytic leukemia with plasmacytic differentiation. It's also referred to as immunocytoma. This is a B-cell neoplasm of older adults, predominantly occurring at around 6th or 7th decades of life. They usually resemble CLL or SLL, but good number of tumor cells, they undergo terminal differentiation into plasma cells, where these plasma cells secrete immunoglobulins, and this immunoglobulin is a monoclonal IgM. Remember, in multiple myeloma, the immunoglobulin predominant was IgG. Here it is IgM. And because of more and more immunoglobulin M in the serum, there will be hyperviscosity syndrome. Please note that the heavy chain and the light chain synthesis is usually balanced in case of lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma. So the pathogenetic mechanism of Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia or even lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma is because of acquired mutation in this MYD88 gene, which is basically a myeloid differentiation primary response number 88, the gene name, where this particular gene encodes adapter protein which activate nuclear factor kappa beta, and this factor is responsible for promotion and the promotion of growth and survival of these tumor cells in the case of lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma. Now, what is the morphological feature of lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma? Bone marrow, as usual, it shows heavy infiltrates of lymphocytes and plasma cells. That's why it's called lymphoplasmacytic. Most of them are plasmacytoid lymphocytes. Of course, you can find Russell bodies and Dutcher bodies. It can also involve lymph nodes apart from bone marrow, liver and spleen. Sometimes even it can infiltrate the nerve roots, meninges and brain, which can be seen. Immunophenotypically, they stain for pan B-cell markers, for example, CD19, 20 and 22. The plasma cells expresses monoclonal immunoglobulin. If you do a cytogenetic study, the most common cytogenetic abnormality found is deletion in the long arm of chromosome number 6. Now, what are the clinical features? The clinical features in Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia is very non-specific. They can present with weakness, fatigue or weight loss, but then when you have more and more IgM, you do have hyperviscosity syndrome, which can manifest as visual impairment, neurologic problems like headache, dizziness, deafness, etc. They can manifest with bleeding tendencies, and even because of infiltration, again just like in multiple myeloma, because of marrow infiltration of these tumor cells, they can present with anemia as well. But remember, unlike multiple myeloma, the complications from the secretion of free light chains are relatively rare and they do not manifest with bony lesions. the bone destruction does not occur in case of lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma or a clinical pathological diagnosis of Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia. Now, the diagnosis of this condition entirely rests on laboratory data and the bone marrow study, where there will be increased in serum proteins. The serum monoclonal M component is elevated, particularly IgM type. There will be increased erythrocyte sedimentation rate. We know the reason. That's because of presence of immunoglobulin, which forms Rouleau formation, and then there is rapid fall in one of the stage of ESR. Of course, anemia because of infiltration of the tumor cells in the bone marrow. So there will be normocytic, normochromic anemia. And characteristic bone marrow infiltration consisting, as I told you, of lymphoid cells, the plasma cells, and the plasmacytoid lymphocytes. So that's how you diagnose Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia. So what is the prognosis of this particular entity? We need to understand that this is an incurable progressive disease. There is no standardized treatment available because of its rarity. However, chemotherapy, targeted therapy, and immunotherapy has been tried. Plasmapheresis sometimes will be of helpful, especially for symptomatic hyperviscosity. Sometimes people with moderate to severe neuropathy can benefit by plasmapheresis. However, the median survival is around 4 years. So that's all about lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma, which manifests clinico-pathologically as Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia. So in this tutorial, we discussed about monoclonal gammopathy of undetermined significance, the small ring myeloma, solitary plasmacytoma, lymphoplasmacytic lymphoma, or Waldenstrom macroglobulinemia. Thank you for watching. If you have liked this video, hit the like button, do comment, don't forget to subscribe. Please do share if you find this video helpful. Thank you. Bye-bye.